everyone, this is Connie with the Crafty Soprano. I am so excited today because this is my very first video. I've made a card for my very best friend Nicole. Her birthday was last weekend and it uses some of our very favorite colors, pink and black. It also features two different stamps from the brand Inkadinkadoo. First, we have a damask stamp that we'll be using for our clear embossed imaging. And then we also have a sentiment celebrate that we'll be using from a birthday set. Okay, so the first thing what we're going to do to get started is I'm going to show you the three pieces of paper and their sizes. The first piece of paper that you're going to need to have cut out is your black cardstock, which is going to be the base of your card, which we're going to fold in just a second. This particular piece of paper measures 10.5 by 5.25. Our next piece is a 5 by 5 piece of the darker pink, and then we have a 1.5 by 5, which is going to go down at the bottom of our card. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold our black piece of cardstock. We're going to use a bone folder today to make sure that we have a nice crease. Okay, and I'll show you that in just a second here. Okay, instead of using my fingers, I'm going to use the bone folder because, like I said, I want that nice sharp crease here at the top of my card. You're not going to achieve that if you use your fingers, okay? All right, so there's the base of our card. We're going to put that aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our cuddle bug out. And I'm going to show you here with this machine that if you pull out the sides, your machine automatically suctions to whatever surface you're using, okay? So when you turn your handle and you run your materials through, this machine is not going to move on you, which is super nice to have. Okay, we're going to use that 1.5 by 5 strip of paper. We're going to use our Swiss Dots Cuddle Bug embossing folder, okay? I'm going to go ahead and put my paper in my folder here. Set that aside. You're going to need 2 cutting plates. These are your B plates. You're also going to need your A spacer. Your A spacer will go in first. Then one of your B plates will go in. Then your embossing folder with your paper is next. And then lastly, your second B plate. So once again, the order of your cuddle bug sandwich is your A spacer, your first B plate, your embossing folder with paper inside, and your second B plate. Okay, once you have your sandwich made, you're going to turn the handle, remove your materials. I'm going to go ahead and fold up my cuddle bug because I'm done with it. And you're going to find a beautiful embossed image right here. Beautiful. It's called Swiss Dots. All right, so we're going to put that aside. We're done with our cuddle bug. The next thing is I'm going to show you this really nice craft mat. This is made by Ranger. This is great for inking, embossing, any kind of stamping, anything where if you accidentally spill something or you get ink on your surface, you can very easily wipe off this mat with no problems. All right, so we're going to take that 5 by 5 piece of pink cardstock and we're going to do some stamping with some Versamark watermark ink. Now this ink is nice and sticky. It's a clear ink because we're going to be achieving a clear embossed look today. We're going to go ahead and get our damask stamp. We're going to start stamping away. Make sure you get nice, good coverage on your stamp. So we're done with our watermark ink pad. By the way, that's Versamark. This is a great quality to use when you're doing the clear embossing. The next thing we're going to do is grab some clear embossing powder. I like to keep my clear embossing powder in a Tupperware container, and then I have a little spoon here inside of that where I can scoop up my embossing powder. We're going to hold our embossed layer over our Tupperware container, and we're going to go ahead and start sprinkling the embossing powder just over our watermarked areas. You need to make sure that you get really even coverage on your embossed images. A little bit more. And that looks really good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very gently just let the embossing powder roll back into the container. I'm going to kind of flick the back of the card a little bit here to get the excess off. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. There's a little bit left here you can kind of brush off with your finger if you need to. Okay, lay that aside. I'm going to close up my embossing powder. That's really important. If you leave this uncovered and you turn your heat gun on, your powder is going to go everywhere. Just kind of an FYI. Alright, so there's that. We're going to put our embossing powder aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our card base here. And we're going to go ahead and use our gun. This is a Martha Stewart heat gun. It's worked really well for me. It really doesn't matter what type you get. It also has this little wire portion here that will fold up when you're storing your embossing gun, or it will fold down so that you can lay it on your surface, which is really nice, just like that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and turn the gun on, and you're going to watch and you're going to see that these images are going to turn a darker color pink. And the heat is going to activate this embossing powder, giving it a nice, intense look. See, there it is. You're starting to see it. Okay, it's just like magic, really. It's really the neatest thing. It's really, really simple. All right, we're going to turn our card over and we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing on the back of our card today to help balance that heat out a little bit. All right, so we're done with that part. That looks gorgeous, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our black cardstock base and we're going to go in and adhere that down onto our card base, okay? All right, now you can start to see that it's kind of doing this curling thing, and that's because it's got a lot of weight on it from that powder. So when you do your adhesive, you need to make sure you put quite a bit on. I don't know what adhesive you guys like to use, but I sure enjoy using the Advanced Tape Glider. This will change your life. It is certainly one of the best adhesive runners that's out there on the market right now. It uses a huge amount of tape. You can see I've used quite a bit in my roll, and this is what I have left. All right, and it just kind of glides across the paper. Really, really cool. Okay. Like I said, it's really important to get enough adhesive on your cards that you emboss, because you don't want them to curl up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and line this up. I love that it has this beautiful black border. It's really nice and crisp and fresh. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that embossed, cuddle-bugged piece of paper. This was the 1.5 by 5 piece of paper. And we're going to attach some really pretty pink ribbon to it. The ribbon that I'm using today is Celebrate Basic Narrow Ribbon. It happens to match our embossed images, okay, which I thought was really nice touch to the card. We're going to get just enough of this ribbon to put around our card. I'm going to use the adhesive on my ribbon today. Leaving a little bit of a space here without adhesive on it. Okay. I'm going to flip it over, fold down. Okay. Then we're going to adhere this piece here to our card. Okay. We're going to line this up at the very bottom of our card, still leaving that pretty black border. Just like that. We're going to grab just a little bit more ribbon so that we can run a little bow through the bottom of our card. Okay, so find that area that you didn't adhere anything to and do your bow. I'm just going to do a little tie here. That works for me. I'm not the best when it comes to bows, so the tie is going to work for me just fine. I'm going to go ahead and angle cut my ends. Just like so. And the last thing that we're going to do to our card is we're going to stamp our sentiment. This is our sentiment, Celebrate. Like I said, these are Inkadinkado stamps. Both the damask and the Celebrate stamp come from that line. We're going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is fade resistant dye ink, wonderful dark rich ink to use for your sentiments. So we're going to ink it up real nice, real good. We're working with embossed paper, so we want to make sure we have enough ink. And then we're going to line it up kind of towards the right here at the bottom. And we're going to press down and lift up. And that is our card. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Bye.